How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
Yeah, there we go. Here we are, another week of Story of the Fight. Welcome, everybody. My name is Romero. That's my boy, Will.
What up?
And this is where we talk all things combat sports. So thank you for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you get notified whenever we post anything on the YouTubes. And also, you can find us on Spotify, Breaker, Podcast, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found. And it's super easy to find us. It's just Story of the Fight everywhere. And then social media, Will.
Yeah, same thing. At Story of the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere.
Are we live on Twitch yet?
I think we're live on Twitch.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yeah.
with Twitchers, I think that's what we called them last time. I don't know if that's a real thing, but welcome anybody that's joining
It is
us
now.
on any of the platforms. And Will,
Yeah.
last week you and I went through and said, we're usually really pumped about the cards.
Yeah.
And for this card, we're like, you know what? Not too excited for this one.
Shows how much we know.
Not too excited for this one, right? And then UFC goes through and gives us a big middle finger and says, "What now, bitches? What now?" Dude, the card delivered. Way beyond
yeah.
expectations.
This was the first, right? First time ever that not one decision?
No. I think they said this was actually the 10th time or 8th time or something like that.
Really?
But it was like
Still.
UFC 1, UFC 2, UFC 3, UFC 4,
In the Zuffa
UFC
era?
40, UFC. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been a minute. It's been a minute.
It's been a
Hey,
while.
shout out DL. Thanks for joining us. Made it live, he said. Always nice when he hops on with us. But yes, so we can go and get started because I think we're going to cover every fight on the card,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, 10 fights, might as well, right?
Why not? And you know what? I don't think we're going to have to talk very long about a lot of the fights.
Yeah.
Let's get them all pretty quick.
Definitely.
Some of them pretty quick. All right, we can go ahead and get started with Jamahal Hill versus Thiago Santos. Maheta. Thiago Santos.
Yeah. And he kind of, it was kind of like a little throwback to old school Santos.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
It's been a while.
Letting those hands go, man.
Yeah.
And against a dangerous opponent.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Jamahal Hill, I think Jamahal Hill was the favorite going into this, right?
Yes.
It had to be. Because he's pretty much murdered everybody that he's faced other than the Bear Jew, Paul Craig. And Santos is like, yeah, and Santos has like no knees, right? And like, I think it was like, dude, the first round he was looking pretty good, but then as the fight progressed, it looked like his feet were underneath the mats, and like he was just stuck in there,
a little bit,
dragging his feet, just staying in one spot, throwing punches without even stepping. His legs are done, man. But
I wonder how much that was his legs getting gassed from like trying to take down and driving with his legs and trying to pin Hill up against the cage and using the force of his legs.
A lot.
He grappled more than I've seen him grapple in a while.
That might be because he can't move.
It might
no disrespect.
No, man, no. So one of the things that I noticed going into this fight, I love that they show the guys warming up, and you usually get the same stuff where they're looking at the camera and they're throwing a left, right, left, and doing the little uppercuts. Yeah. But they're showing Jamahal Hill hitting mitts, and he's doing this thing where his coach is coming in on him, and he's taking a step back, and as he's taking a step back, he's throwing the right, left, right hook combo.
Yeah,
and then they do it over and over and again. And I was like, okay, let me see if I can see him doing this. Dude,
that's all he does.
Multiple times.
Dude, it's literally all he does. He does.
Beautiful.
It's the same thing like Salikov, where he'll go in with a feint and then hop back, and he's hoping that you chase. And so, because he throws the feint, he's hoping that you throw. He's hopping back, and then he can time the lead hook. And it's all he does. That's his entry for everything.
So good. He's
But it
so
works.
good landing shots off his back foot, man, and he's got
Yeah.
power even when he's on his back foot, right?
He hops back, he leans away, he throws the right hook, and he cracks every time. And Santos did a good job. I mean, because he was eating those shots because Jamahal Hill was landing, and we've seen when Jamahal Hill lands most of the time. I mean, he turned Johnny Walker into one of those like inflatable dudes. Remember? So and Santos was eating shots, and I was like, you can't do that. And then he just stays in the pockets trading with him. I was like, this is Santos of old, and cracking him back.
He cracked Hill a few times, man. You actually see Hill's eyes get a little swollen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But ultimately, man, Jamahal Hill was so fast. His counters are so good. And then after all that wrestling, it started to seem like Santos started getting a little gassed. You know what I mean? And
you could tell he was exhausted.
His knees already non-existent. So you put that or add that in with the fact that he's exhausted, and you can just see him laboring, man, the last couple rounds.
Yeah, I mean, he was barely moving. He was kind of just in one space or one place. Jamahal would kind of start cracking him, and he'd swing back hard, and he was landing shots. But like you said, he's not stepping into him, so it's mostly upper body punches, which still, I mean, he's the hammer, you know. So like, it's still dangerous.
But not just any hammer.
And there was that moment you can kind of tell when it was over because Santos kind of turned away and kind of like tried to jog away, right? And Hill was like, "No, dude," and like chased him and landed that lead left hook to like catch him, and then stayed on him. And it was like, oh man, it's tough to come back from a spot like that.
And then once he's on all fours and you have Hill on your back and you're exhausted, your legs are drained, your knees are gone. Like, how explosive are you really going to be at that point to be able to try to get up back on your feet? So as soon as he fell down like that, I was like, oh, it's over, man. But
it was over. And he survived for a while off his back.
He did.
But once Hill switched to those elbows, it was like, no, like, stop this fight. Please stop this fight.
For sure. Well, I was thinking stop this fight just because, I thought to myself, well, he's not going to get up again. You know, but my guy still winning in life. Yana Kunitskaya, baby mama. And he just had his baby girl. You know what I mean? So, still, dude, Thiago Santos, you got a lot to look forward to, my man. Might not be the top 10 in the UFC, but you still got a lot to look forward to in life.
Yeah, what was he ranked going into this? Because, I mean, the guy's had only main events for the past, 2 years, it seems like.
Yep. I mean, for the longest time, when you thought of the light heavyweight division, Thiago Santos was one of the ones that you thought of as a serious contender.
I always saw him as, I mean, after the Jones fight, I think, because up until that, it was like, this guy's a wild card, and Jones has beaten everybody, so maybe he'll catch him. That's what, it seemed like going into that fight. And then that fight happened, it was like, oh, Thiago Santos, has answers for John Jones. Like, he's not just a wild card, swing wild guy, you know?
And what did it cost him? His knees.
His knees.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything, man.
Yeah. But Jamahal Hill, man, what's next for him? He's got to be, I mean, you throw him up there, man.
He's got to take Thiago's spot now, right, at number 6?
Yeah, I would think so.
Did we ever find out what happened to Anthony Smith?
He did end up having a fracture in his ankle, yeah.
Yeah? Oh.
So surgery.
Yeah. I think Rakic is already scheduled, isn't he?
Rakic, I don't think so. I think Rakic, he took out his knee in that Jan Blachowicz fight, and I haven't heard anything since.
I think you're right. So Anthony Smith is hurt. Rakic is hurt. You have Ankalaev just came off a win.
If they do Yijri versus Glover, the rematch, then yeah, maybe you do Jamahal Hill versus Ankalaev.
Maybe
where they just both drop step and try to check hook each other for five rounds.
They drop step like in a circular motion, just around.
Yeah, they just keep going in and out. That's both of their game plans. That's what both of them do.
But that'd make for an interesting fight.
either that or it'll be who goes first. Who goes first? Who goes first? So one of the two.
Izzy and
Derek Lewis versus
Izzy
Izzy
and
versus Yoel.
Joel.
Derek Lewis versus Francis.
Oh yeah,
It's happened a lot.
I think that would be more exciting with Jamahal Hill.
I think so. I think Jamahal Hill. The difference because Jamahal Hill is very much a counter striker with that strategy, but he can be first too. A lot of counter strikers are like, that's all I can do, and I refuse. I'm so disciplined that I refuse to like break out of that game plan. Jamahal Hill can and does. He did it in this fight multiple times. But man, does he love that drop stack check left or check right hook?
Yeah, dude. Practice
So do I though. It's great.
It looks fantastic.
It's
he lands.
Fun.
And he damages.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So why not? All right. Anything else on the main event?
No, that's kind of it. It was. I think this was needed matchmaking, right? Get Santos out of there. Let's start bringing some new guys in.
Dude, somebody's listening to you, Will. Somebody's watching Story of the Fight from the UFC, and they're like going over to Sean Shelby. They're like, dude, you know what we should probably do? Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's shake up the earth, you know?
Let's stop giving people number one contender fights immediately after challenging for the belt.
Yeah. Let's move on. All right. Speaking of moving on, we'll go on. You like that segue?
Yeah.
Luque versus Neal. Vicente Luque versus Hands of Steel, Jeff Neal. Dude.
Two great guys.
Hey, with Jeff.
Look at literally everybody's smiling in this photo, even the cameraman in the back.
Yeah, what a beard on the cameraman, by the way. But Jeff Neal for this fight had such a sneaky straight left, man, dude, because he was walking in and kind of like tapping with his right arm, and his left would kind of be lower, kind of showing an opening, and he'd bring it from like the hip straight up the middle.
Yeah, dude.
And Luque with the high guard with zero head movement.
Yeah.
With the high guard. And so like he was just coming in with that. Yeah. He was just coming in with that straight left over and over again, right on the nose. And Luque, I mean, like, what do you think, man? Like, I know that he has so much confidence in his chin. He's shown before that he can weather a storm and come back. But dude, Hands of Steel, Jeff Neal.
Not this time.
Not this time. As you can see in the picture that Will just put up.
Yeah, shout out Rich is in Vegas, so I'm trying to do the show and the behind the scenes stuff.
A couple plates, dude.
Yeah. So if it's a little rough, that's why. But you heard his coaches did a fantastic job in this fight. They kept yelling right flank. And every time they'd yell right flank, he would circle out on the right and Fitzgerald called it out and was like, "Oh, it's because Luque keeps throwing that left kick or the right kick." So if you exit on the right, it takes away some of that momentum, right? It's almost like rolling with it. But it wasn't just for that; it was also because he was trying to land up that left straight the whole time. And the only way to do that is if you step outside the lead leg of Luque. Like if you plant his right leg because he's a southpaw and it's open stances, right? Southpaw versus orthodox. He needs to step past almost the lead leg of Luque, and Luque's footwork was just kind of not really there. There was no because if you're Luque, you want to mirror that so that he can't step on the outside, because if you step on the outside, your straight is going to go right down the pipe. And he just kept on landing it, kept on stepping to the outside. And then it worked both ways, because when Luque would land the kick, he was moving away from it. And if he didn't throw the kick, the left straight's there. And also, shout out to Luque, because in that first round, when he hurt him the first time, he cracked him with the left hand, right? And he's going down, and then just decided, oh, never mind, I'm gonna stay up. Like he looked like he was dropping on his ass, and then he just popped right back up and was like, oh, no, I'm good. And
he did that in the third too.
Yeah, Luque's a savage, dude. Like an absolute savage. I don't know how he
refusing to go down, man.
Yeah, until he
had
eats
more success in the
uppercuts.
second.
Yeah, he did. I thought he won the second.
He had more footwork. He was in and out a little bit more instead of just standing there with a high guard. But then in the third, and we have some fighters that just have that dog in them. Like when they get tagged and they're like, I could eat this.
Yeah.
And, let me just go back to what I know. And he went back to just the high guard again. And like you said, granted, he got caught a couple more times.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you're getting hit by Jeff Neal, you're going to get rocked. Your boy's concussed by the third round.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. He was concussed by the second round. But, yeah, when he gets him up against the cage and he hits him with that one left uppercut, then he's like,
oh, just keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just hitting the button over and over and over again. You're like, oh, it's getting through.
8 uppercuts in a row.
That's
and, like, he was blocking.
All of them landed flush, but.
He blocked, like, the first 6 and then decided to just kind of stop blocking him, and Neal just kept throwing him.
Yeah, we have a deal coming through saying Neal's coach drowning out the commentary was really funny. He was so loud the entire fight.
Yeah, dude. It was hilarious.
They didn't have a choice but to bring up the things that Saif Saud was yelling out because it was so loud. But, man, I agree with you. He did such a fantastic job coaching. What did it? Fortis MMA, right? Out of Dallas?
Fortis MMA. Yeah. It was funny, too, because it was like, he was like, 11, 22. And it's like, yeah, that's 1-2. Like, you can't, like Mark Henry has, like, codes, right, for, like, different things for, like, different strikes. And they're like, instead of 1-2, let's just say 11 and then 22. And it's like, meanwhile, Jeff Neal's just spamming the 1-2.
All these numbers.
Great code.
Going through the head with the codes, you know what I mean? Yeah. Shout out Regeneration Nation TV. I thought the fight was going to be much closer. Neal set himself apart big time.
Dude, he separated himself.
Neal, if I remember correctly, was outside of the top 10, right?
I'm not sure, probably. But, man, he looked like he deserves to be at the top.
Welterweight ranked number 13, going up against Vicente Luque. Another example of a fighter losing and then fighting back. Yeah, Vicente Luque, number 6. And Jeff Neal, ranked number 13, just beat number 6. So he puts himself in the mix again. So absolutely agree with Regeneration Nation TV. Shout out to those guys. I'll have to check out that channel after we're done here. But now he's up in the mix, right? You have Stephen Thompson at number 7.
He lost it. Well, so that's the thing. So Jeff Neal, what we've seen is his weakness where he got set back was someone with like ring craft, right? Like when he fought Wonder Boy, he could not. It was like what did we just watch? Chris Curtis versus Jack Hermanson, where he was just following him. Yeah, and it was all due to ringsmanship, right? There's really no one above him outside of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson that uses that well. So stylistically, Jeff Neal is a great matchup for a lot of these guys.
And his call out, I think, was perfect. His call out was perfect.
Oh yeah.
He said, "Give me another guy from Sanford MMA.
Yeah.
Throw him my way. You put him
Shout
up.
Out. What is it called now?
Down."
What is it called now? Is it Killcliff?
It's not Sanford anymore. Killcliff.
Yeah, they got sponsored by something else. I think
what were they before Sanford MMA? They were they the Black Zillions?
Black Zillions. Yeah, they've been. All they do is. I like how Brendan Fitzgerald was like, "Oh yeah, calling out that team from South Florida." Dude, it's so hard to keep track. They keep changing their name.
It really is. Yeah, but either way, I think it was a perfect call out because Gilbert Burns would be a good matchup. He's one to throw hands as well. But man, it's just maybe Sean Brady would be fun too. I know Sean Brady has something scheduled though.
Yeah, but that'd be a good one.
Matchups, and Jeff Neal, somebody to definitely look out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how talented he was this whole time.
Fighting out of XKO, Fort Worth over here as well, dude. Shout out.
Shout out to Regeneration Nation. You gained a sub for me on quality alone. You both seem enthusiastic and knowledgeable about the sport as well. Good stuff, guys. What a nice,
I love it.
What a cool comment.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's why anybody that shows support on here, I always try to show support and check to see if they have a page on YouTube myself and you know,
of course.
Always show love back. But yeah,
also
man,
the stream usually goes even smoother. We normally have a producer who does some things.
Yes. But, he's partying right now. $20 says he's still asleep right now.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. 100%. I mean, without Vegas, he's usually sleeping till time anyways. The only reason he wakes up this early is for the podcast.
Yeah. Shout out. Rich the Casual.
Rich the Casual, yes. All right, you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, it was also a tough finale night.
Yes, tough finale night. So we had Pauga versus Usman. Usman, that name sounds familiar. Yes, the brother of Kamaru Usman.
Yes.
Yes. But dude, I watched like 5 episodes of TUF. Not gonna lie, stopped watching.
Yeah.
TUF was a little
It's
tough.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Play on words. I love it. That guy's like, unsubscribe now. Yeah. All right. Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
So yeah. But one of the intriguing stories for me, from what I had seen so far, is the Muhammad Usman story. Okay.
Yeah, because you have to separate yourself as I'm not just Kamaru's brother, because
But
that's what
that's
a
what
lot of
everybody
people are
wants
going
to
to
shine
see
the
him.
light on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know.
but you got to do something like this to separate yourself from that.
Yeah, and let's talk about it then. So we had Poga. Dude, this guy is super explosive. I want to say he came into this 5-0, I think. Undefeated, yes. Fighting out of, is it Denver? With, I'm not sure if it's high elevation or team elevation.
Elevation
Team
with Curtis
elevation, right?
Blades. Yeah.
Curtis Blades, Alistair Overeem when he was still there. He's only
Mm-hmm.
been in MMA for 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Dude played professional football before, and then I think he was a cop for a little bit, if I remember correctly, from that TUF episode. And then he was like, you know what? I don't like arresting people and just slamming normal people. Like,
Yeah.
I want to fight some serious contenders. And
Yeah.
I like keeping that in
Dude.
mind. The episodes that I did watch in TUF, and then watching this fight, it's so impressive at like the rate that he was able to make it into the UFC, and on top of that, be very competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, he looked like this was his fight up until it wasn't, right? I mean, it seemed like his footwork looked great. He was touching him. He was making Usman miss.
The stutter step with the right that he would use,
At
he had
heavyweight?
this long stutter step, and then he'd come in with the right really quickly, catching Usman off guard, and I thought that was
Yeah.
beautiful. He landed
Yeah.
that 2 or 3 times.
And at heavyweight, you don't really see stuff like that.
No.
He looked very promising. And
I mean, dude, granted, this guy was a fullback in the NFL, so I'm sure he's super athletic.
Yeah, but when even in those, when did this end? This ended in the second round or third round?
Second round. Let me double check.
I can't look at anything else
Second
because
round.
of the slideshow.
Second round.
But yeah, he was cracking Usman, and every once in a while, Usman would crack him too with heavy shots, and he was eating them. And I was like, oh, I think he's probably gonna run away with this if he's taking the big shots. That's pretty much. It seems like that's all Usman really has to offer, and he's eating them.
Can I raise my hand real quick?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I noticed something with that, but if you notice, Usman was coming in with the looping hooks.
Yeah.
And while it looked like he was cracking them with the looping hook coming in,
Mm-hmm.
Pauga was able to kind of roll with it a little bit and start turning.
Well, that's what I mean.
He got cracked, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he was taking the shots. Like he's seeing him coming, and that's ultimately the difference maker. Because eventually he cracked him, and he did not see it coming, and that was gnarly. Whoa, went a little too far. That was gnarly. The shot that put him out, like flatlined him. The dude's got legit power.
This was it right here. I think this was it because
wind up. Look at that.
Pauga started doing the dipping jab over and over again, and got a little too repetitive. And on one of those dipping jabs, it wasn't even something where it came from like way back here. He did wind it up a little bit, but it was like maybe just like a foot, landed right on the nose. Pauga goes flying back. Still conscious. No, still conscious at that point. Because if you see, he's resting his head up.
Oh, is he? I gotta rewatch it.
And then
the hammer fist
straight from Nigeria.
Yeah,
straight from
all
Nigeria.
the way from Nigeria. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! And he lands that giant hammer fist, and then a little baby hammer fist right after that.
Yeah,
and then after that, flatlined. He was out.
Yeah, out.
Scary.
Out for a while too. They're talking. It's always bad when the broadcast is like talking about, and he's still out. He's still down there. Like,
or when they come back from a commercial and they're like, it's nice to see Pauga standing now.
Yeah.
So you know the entire time he was out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the whole commercial break, everyone's like, get him up.
Usman show, dude, he has ridiculous power. And you can see it. Dude's built like a Greek god, man. All natty? I don't know. Who cares?
That's the thing we're talking about earlier. We're talking about the Usman family doctor.
Also known as her dad. But
also known as the other brother.
Yeah, probably actually. If we were to look into it, and it's like Kamaru Usman, welterweight champion, pound for pound #1. You have Muhammad Usman.
Tough finalist.
Tough finalist. Then you have Cash Usman, and they're like, he works in a lab.
He works in a lab, yeah.
That's probably what you would find out.
He's like, clearly not using his own supply.
He's a scientist.
Clearly gives it all to his brothers.
But man. Hey, props to Usman. A sad story about him and his son, right? His son passed away at an early age. It's one of his big motivators, he says. And to hear him call him out afterwards, dude, is very touching. It's nice to see the Usman family all standing up in the cage and celebrating together.
It was cool.
Do I like seeing Ali Abdelaziz up there too? No, not so much. You know what I mean?
Not really.
It seems like he's been adopted as one of the Usman children.
I mean,
he's always with Maru.
I think he just kind of inserts himself into everybody's families. Like, there's it's like a weird thing going on with that guy. I don't know.
So he's Ali Abdelaziz, also known as Ali Usman, also known as Ali Gaethje, also known as like whoever he's with. Like that's the closest person in his life at that point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Also known as a UFC employee potentially. I don't know. It seems like he's.
But hey,
something weird.
Don't want to take anything away from Muhammad Usman.
Really
we'll
good win.
What comes from this, man? We'll see what comes from this. I think that there's still some holes in his game. He's somebody that got started late in MMA as well, but championship pedigree, man.
Yeah,
it's in their blood. It's in their blood.
It's in the blood. It's at heavyweight, so you can kind of get around. You can get around some things. Bruce Bobtrotter, shout out Bruce.
Shout out Bruce Bobtrotter. Jamahal Hill versus Angela Hill. We need to determine who is the best Hill in the UFC.
Oh, that's classic. Jamahal Hill's gonna win that by split decision. That Angela Hill should have won.
Since the time Bruce Bobtrotter has started following the podcast and a lot of the fights that he recommends, if the UFC were to put one of those fights on, that might be the first canceled major league in the United States ever. But a lot of Bruce Bobtrotter's fights that he suggests could be sanctioned in Russia. Actually, I found.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Those same fights almost got us banned on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't share those anymore.
Yeah,
I don't share those anymore. Oh man! All right. Do you have anything else on that fight though, Will? Usman versus Pauga?
No, I'm excited to see. Honestly, I'm excited to see stuff from both of them.
And Pauga's a light heavyweight. Naturally, a light heavyweight. I think he just took the opportunity to get into TUF at heavyweight.
Happens a lot.
And they were saying that the weight cut to 205 is tough for him. But that's why they decided to go into the heavyweight tough, because dropping down to 205 so often during that time period wouldn't have been
hard, man. That's like remember when they did was it Cruz versus Faber where they did it was tough live, and they're like, hey, everybody's dying because they're cutting weight so often.
That's right.
We can't do it live.
Was it that one? Was it Cruz?
I think Faber was on it. I remember Faber being on it.
Faber Connor.
Oh, I think it was before that.
Oh, by the way, that tough, one of the best lines when he sees TJ Dillashaw. Look at that snake in the grass. Dude, as he's walking up. Classic. All right. We will
move on to your underwears. I think it was from that one also.
We'll move on to another tournament championship matchup. This was Juliana Miller versus Brogan Walker.
Yeah. This was a tough finale.
Yes. Look at us just trying to pull anything we can out of my hat right now.
Here's the thing. Going into it, it's like, okay, Juliana Miller, do not go to the ground against her, right? 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, very, I don't mean this with any disrespect, very inexperienced in her professional MMA career. It's just early, that's all. So it's like, if I'm fighting her, it's like, cool. Pressure her against the fence with striking and footwork and stay away. And instead, Brogan was like, land some shots of my own, initiate the clinch, get taken down. And over and over and over again.
I feel like Miller's length was a little too much.
Yeah, it was a little too much because I don't know. I didn't watch the show, so I don't know if maybe Brogan wasn't really showing much variance throughout the show. But also shout out Regeneration Nation. This is a good scrap. This was fun. This was a fun fight.
For sure.
Every time Brogan would throw that lead outside leg kick, because they had open stances most of the time, Juliana's just cracking her every single time. No setup on the leg kick, just throws it out there, gets cracked. Throws it out there, gets cracked. And from what I've seen of Brogan, she likes to catch people coming in. And I think, like you said, Miller's so long. When she would come in, Brogan just couldn't touch her.
She had a hard time with it.
She had a hard time with it. And then
even on the ground.
Yeah, even on the ground. And every time they would clinch up, or Brogan would clinch with Miller, Miller did a fantastic job of pummeling and turning her around, and then just tangling her legs. Just tangled them up, and then we're on the ground. And I mean, props to Brogan for getting out of that rear naked choke. I thought that was going to be it, but realistically, this was a clean sweep by Miller.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then this is a perfect example right here, even on the ground. You see Brogan Walker. There's a few times that she tried to hip up and try to gain a better position, but literally legs wrapped around Brogan's waist as she's on full mount, which you don't see very often. And then her legs hooked up under her legs as well. So it was really hard for her to get her off. And she was throwing those hammer fists. Once she started landing those elbows.
Yeah.
And screaming at the same time, it was legit. So, Bruce Bobtrotter asking, "Are you intentionally or unintentionally bald, bro?" Just wondering. This is unintentional, Bruce Bobtrotter. This is God given. But it's God given, man. But I'm glad I could clear that up. Bruce Bobtrotter probably wondering, since the last time I didn't wear a hat, he's like, "Man, I wonder if it's intentional."
That's hilarious. Shout out Bruce Bobtrotter.
Oh man! All right. Anything else on this one?
Yeah, it's hilarious. The shout out Regeneration Nation, the screaming elbows. It's funny, in the post-fight interview, she's talking about how she landed some elbows in the first round, and Brogan was like, yeah, keep throwing those elbows. They're not shit. And then she was like, okay. And then just beat the brakes off her with the elbows.
Yeah, it seemed like there was bad blood, huh? Like, as soon as she stood up, she did that little chop at the hips or whatever, and then, like, Brogan's like, okay. I was like, what's going on here? This drama I missed out on, I guess, from not watching TUF, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm okay with missing it.
All right. Now we'll move on to some more high level
this was one of the
respect of Miller and Walker, but this was fun.
This was one of the ones that I posted on the MMA subreddit about this one, because this was one of the few that, going into this card, we talked about how this card blah blah blah. This was one that I was very excited for, super excited for this one, and it delivered.
So Spivak, right? We take a look at the little run that he's on right now.
Sergey Spivak versus Augusto Sakai.
So he takes out Jared Vandeira, Carlos Felipe. It wasn't Carlos Felipe the one that was roided out too?
Yeah.
Got for roids, right? So he beat Carlos Felipe on roids. Jared Vandeira, Alexei Olenek loses to Tom Aspinall. We've all seen at this point, Tom Aspinall's no slouch. He's
a loss to him is no big deal.
Nope. And then he goes on, beats Greg Hardy. Thank you very much for that, by the way, Spivak. Really,
that's what I posted.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And then Augusto Sakai, another guy that I'm really high on right now. Augusto Sakai seems to be one of the newer generation heavyweights, where even though he's big, he's still pretty light on his feet. Okay.
Yeah, he does have that going for him.
Yes, he's light on his feet. And that's what I mean by new generation heavyweight. Like, because
back
in the day, you used to see the heavyweights that are just very flat-footed, a la Derek Lewis, for example. That just kind of plants and throws. Sakai has some good foot movement, and I love that footwork. But man, Spivak,
dude, his judo, he just ties you up. He landed that trip how many times? He just kept tripping him.
Too many times. Inside leg.
Yeah. Yeah, and he'd get the overhook and just and you're like, oh, he's not gonna get a takedown from that, and then here he is dumping you, and you're like, oh shoot, this guy. I mean, at heavyweight especially, to have the ability to mat return that many times, because that was the clip I posted too, with the Greg Hardy finish. Greg Hardy got up, they're on the ground, he got up, and he instantly slams him down, pop right back up, slams him down again, pops right back up, slams him down, and then finishes him. Like, the guy just relentless,
man.
Yeah, and at heavyweight, man, you cannot just keep exploding up like that. Like, you're gonna gas out so hard. You're just too big to be doing that.
The thing I love about Spivak, man,
Mm-hmm.
he'll take whatever you give him, and he'll
Yeah,
adjust on the spot.
yeah, he's
His
not forcing it.
transitions in positions are so seamless and smooth, man. Whatever it is that you give him, boom, he's transitioning over your back over to the other side.
Yeah.
You get up on excuse me, on all fours, boom, he transitions into a higher clinch and he drags you down again, and then you
Yeah.
flip over, dude. He's just nonstop, man.
The chain wrestling, man.
Crazy.
Chain wrestling mixed with judo, like, that's at heavyweight, is terrifying, especially because there's guys who will fight like this at the lower weight classes, and you can argue that it gets kind of boring because there's no threat of like a finish in that type of game plan. But at heavyweight, dude, the short shots that he's able to generate, like, he can generate so much power in this ground and pound from just short little angles that he is, while he's doing all that to you, he is battering you. And dude, I'm really, really high on him.
Dude, that judo with wrestling combo is insane. So I told you I went to judo, right? I'm over there with Santos Mike. He's like, hey, go up against this guy over here. He's also a white belt. And I was like, perfect. So I introduced myself. He's like, yeah, my name's Liam. I've been wrestling for 7 years. And I'm like, well, that's not good for me.
Yeah.
And then, so I had to miss this last week because of work. Talking to my buddy Daniel. I was like, how was he? He's like, good, dude. I was put up against this guy. It was his first day in judo. And I was like, how'd you do? He's like, well, he wrestles at Duke.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Deadly combo.
Yeah.
But that's all I got on that fight. Do you have anything else?
In my opinion, it should be off to the races with Sergey Spivak. He should be jumping up. I just want to see him fight, and he stylistically, he's a very fun matchup for a lot of the top guys. I mean, what, Tai Tuivasa's ranked number 3rd or something like that now, and Spivak destroyed him. So, like, let's go.
Let's see. Where's the heavyweight rankings? Here it is. We got Francis Ngannou, of course. Cyril Gane, Stipe, Tai Tuivasa, Curtis Blades, Sergey Pavlovich, Tom Aspinall, Derek Lewis, Alexander Volkov. I mean, when you see a lot of these names, especially when you hit 7 on, and you look at Spivak, you're like, oh, dude,
he can eat these people.
Let's get him going up against number 8, number 7 right now, and let's have him just be where he's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, he demolished Tai Tuivasa. It was
hurt too, because we're huge Thai fans.
Yeah, you know who else we're huge fans?
Or the area. A little sound he makes, whenever he's hammered.
Yeah,
I love it. All right, you ready for the next one? Bit of a heartbreaker, dude. Bit of a heartbreaker. We'll move on here to Terence McKinney versus Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez. So for anybody that's new, like Regeneration Nation TV that just joined us today and subscribed, we've had a couple of interviews with Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez. Go back and watch those because it's so hard not to fall in love with that guy.
Yeah, watch the last one that we did, the most recent one we did with him, because we watched the street fights with him, and it's just so much fun.
It was hilarious.
Such a cool guy. Yeah,
super cool guy. Seriously, like every time we talk to him, I feel like we're just talking to somebody that we've known for a minute. Just super friendly. So, whenever we get to do interviews like that with like a Chris Lieben, again, Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez, who else? Bruce Leroy. Like, you start like feeling like you have so much invested in these people,
dude.
Right?
When they were setting up, they were doing like the tail of the tape and stuff for this fight. I was like, oh god, it's happening again.
I was so nervous.
So nervous, man. Yeah,
I was so nervous. And we all know Terence McKinney. Right? Terence McKinney is just this rising star, man. Super dangerous. That first round with Terence McKinney is one of the deadliest. You talked about first round, who was it? Last week. Alves, man. First round, somebody. I can't remember.
Rafael Alves, yeah.
Rafael Alves. There's also first round McKinney.
Yeah, first 3 minutes McKinney.
Oh, my God. And we saw what he almost did to Drew Dober.
Yeah. And anybody else, he would have put him out. Drew Dober's just got the best chin in the world.
Yeah,
aesthetically and functionally.
Absolutely. And so McKinney coming in here, we knew that this was going to be a tough fight for Ghost Pepper, but we also know that Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez against Jim Miller was a last-minute fight he picked up on like a few days' notice.
He literally, it was the whole camp was just a weight cut.
That was his camp, and
for his debut.
Miller. He caught Miller. He had him on skate.
How about this? he caught Mckinney.
He did. He did.
He cracked him.
And this is where, taking a look at the fight, you see Ghost Pepper coming out very defensive against Mckinney. And it's probably because he has heard from everybody, and I'm sure his coach has told him too, that first round with Mckinney, if you get past that first round, our chances skyrocket.
Right? Yeah, because especially just the first few minutes, it's like if first off, take what he can give you, right? And maybe try to get him to gas out a little bit, make him work, but don't get into a slug fight with him at the very beginning. So that's probably the game plan.
Stay disciplined, because Ghost Pepper's history, if you see him, even back in Combate, he has barn burners, man. Like, again, he gets hit, natural reaction as a fighter, I'm swinging back.
Dude, and that happened in this fight, because at the beginning, McKinney's he's kind of a sniper, right? He's landing some shots, and it's like, oh man, the shots are getting reactions. But then there was one he landed on Ghost Pepper, and he took a step back, kind of like readjusted real quick, and then he's in southpaw, and then he slips and throws this left hand and cracked him. And I was like, jumped out of the couch. I was like, oh, I was like, come on. I
was like, here we go.
Yeah, and then they kind of re-engaged a couple times. He caught him again with the right hand, and then off the right hand, Terence took him down, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, what? I thought we were trading. Let's go, get back up. No, but that's not the fight game.
That's not the fight game. Apparently, Terence McKinney had a plan too. Who would have?
Yeah, who would have thought? Yeah, but yeah, he hops the back. That's the new trend, right? Jumping on people's back while they're standing. And
it's working.
Yeah, it's working, man. It's tough to defend because you're worried about your balance, all these things. He sunk the choke in, got the tap. It is what it is, you know. Another first round finish for Terence McKinney. He'll jump up there. But now in both of Ghost Pepper's fights in the UFC, he's hurt some people. Dude's got power.
Give him at least one more fight. He took that Jim Miller fight on like 2-3 days notice, something like that. Then you give him Terence McKinney.
Like, come out on. Of all people.
Let's just give us a warm-up fight. And what I mean by that, look, Ghost Pepper, okay, let's see. What's his record right now? 14-7. So it's not like it's his first fight. It's not like he's 5-0 like Pauga that we just talked about earlier.
Yeah.
He's got some experience. But let's get some of those UFC jitters out, huh?
I know.
Like, let me fight somebody where it's gonna be a nice slugfest. We'll swing and bang, but you know what I mean? Like,
also, let's maybe get him a fight outside of the Apex. Let's let him see a crowd. Let's let him see a crowd
in LA, his hometown. You know,
that'd be sick.
That would be so sick.
Yeah,
come on.
I know he was trying to get on the last LA card, but it didn't work out. But
Sean Shelby, come on. God, all right, man. But hey, still a lot of love for Ghost Pepper. Shout out Eric Ghost Pepper, upgrade
San,
that entire crew over there. We absolutely love them, man. And again, it's at the end of the day, we started talking to Ghost Pepper before he made it to the UFC. He made it to the UFC. That was one of his goals. He cracked it into one of the largest leagues in the world, man.
Yeah,
in sports,
in one of the deepest divisions.
So props to him, man. Props to him. I'm sure it's not the last we'll hear of Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez. And props to Terence McKinney as well. Another first-round finish, man. Another first-round finish. I think that's 12.
That's crazy.
Dude's 13-4. He has 12 first-round finishes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Again, Sean Shelby, throw my guy a bone, please.
I know. Please. All right. We move on to the prelims. Also, Bruce Bob Trotter with a comment coming in. When are you guys going to throw down and stream it here? Who will win?
Okay, so Will and I in jiu-jitsu a lot of times, I would face a lot of the similar issues that Brogan would face with my reach. Will, as soon as he would lock in the triangle, it was tough on your boy, okay? Long limbs over there. Long limbs. But I don't know.
Fun times.
Good times. Some would say the best. All right.
Let's say the best.
Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus Sam Alvey.
Yeah, real quick, Regeneration Nation says, my close friend is close friends with Preston Parsons. He lives near me. They threw him Daniel Rodriguez in his first fight. Oh, man. Yeah, it's tough out there. Like, it's weird because, like, some guys, like, and I get it. the UFC is a money making thing, right? So when they have a guy, let's go to the extreme example, like Patty the Batty.
Yep.
And they're like, let's bring him in, and he gets a first round finish or whatever, and then he gets another finish, and then another finish, right? He's had 3 fights, 3 finishes, very cool.
Yeah.
And then you realize that the first 2 opponents aren't even in the UFC anymore. No disrespect to those guys, but let's I mean it is what it is, right? It's not a thing that it's not going to be fair, but some guys get matchups on the come up that are favorable. Some guys don't, but some guys, yeah.
This is us in the background talking about that, but I guarantee you, if you ask Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez, he's going to say,
"Oh yeah, he's like, fuck that.
Throw me the hardest guys you got." You know what I mean?
100%.
So, and we say this with no disrespect to Ghost Pepper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It honestly is just one of those things where we love the guy and we wish him nothing but the best. But
I mean, and the truth of the matter is too, both of those were winnable fights. The Jim Miller fight and the Terence Mckinney fight. Jim Miller, he dropped him the first round and almost got him out of there. And this one, he cracked him twice, real good. The hardest shots that landed in the fight, I thought, were from Ghost Pepper. So they're winnable fights. It's just, I mean, the sport's just so crazy that like any split second advantage or anything like that can just completely change the course of it. And then that's what it is. It is what it is.
And you heard McKinney say, he's like, hey, I saw he left his chin up for a second.
Yeah.
I saw he left his chin up for a second. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And that's all she wrote, man. All right. Now back to Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus smiling Sam Alvey. Your boy wasn't smiling very much at that. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Hey, how about you got 6 kids? That's cool. Awesome. Family man. How about we don't bring them to the fights when you haven't had a win in 8 fights? What are we thinking here?
All right.
It's been 8 fights since you won. Why are you bringing your children in to watch you get massacred?
Because this was the night. This was the night I was going to get a win. That's why I wanted my family there. Have my family there to see it.
Meanwhile, this is what happened.
He's 35 years old now. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the streak that he's on. He lost to Little Nog.
No slouch.
To punches.
May have heard of him.
May have heard of him. Clitson Abreu decision. Lost to Ryan Spann decision. Let's see here. Julian Marquez rear naked choke. The Cuban Missile Crisis, by the way, one of the best nicknames ever. Lost to Wellington Turman. Wellington Turman on the up and up, man. Lost to Brendan Allen, and now lost to Oleksiejczuk.
Yeah. Shout out DL. Yeah. Bringing the kids is like, hey, if you're Max Holloway and you're out there setting records for the significant strike variance between you and the opponent, bring your kids. They're going to be stoked to watch dad fuck somebody up. But when you haven't had a win in 8 fights in a row, why are you bringing the whole family?
It's, oh man, it's tough. It really is. And you see Bruce Poptrotter saying, kids probably shouldn't be allowed into the fights. It's
weird, man.
I'm torn on this one. I really am. And coming from a father myself, where my son will be like, "Hey, Dad, is there any UFC fights tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's UFC fights on." And he'll sit there with me, and granted, he'll watch like maybe a little bit of the fight, and then he'll play Smash Bros on the Switch while he's watching the fights. You know. But I think that like if I'm a fighter, and I probably wouldn't take my kids because you just never know what's going to happen, man. And it can be extremely traumatizing.
Bro, what if like Weidman's maybe they were, I don't even know. What if Weidman's kid, he got young kids. What if they were there when he snapped his leg against Uriah Hall? I don't want to watch that happen to my dad.
Yeah.
What
if you're Auga and you have your kids and you're flatline and your kids are watching you laying down on the mat for 2 minutes and they're like, what's going on with dad?
Like, is dad dead?
It could be traumatizing, man. Bro, some of these knockouts I see, and as a huge fan, and sometimes with gods, I'm like, oh, that was rough.
Yeah.
Imagine the kid watching it. So again, that's why I'm like so torn on that specific topic, man. I don't know. I go back and forth on it all the time. I really do. So I don't know.
Regeneration Nation. I thought the same thing. Get a freaking babysitter, man, after a few losses.
For sure. For sure, man.
To
And then
be
Bruce
fair,
Boxer,
though, the
go ahead.
contract that he's on, he'll probably spend his whole show money on a babysitter when he got 6 kids.
That is very true. They charge by child, not by
Yeah.
time. All right. So Bruce Boxer says Sam Alvey clearly is immensely right. So calling him out for having that many kids, but no, he brings up a really good point. Again, he's 35 years old, 35, 36 years old. He's on an 8-fight losing streak. How many of those fights were from taking damage, punches, KO, whatever it may be?
Mhm.
And dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't personally know Sam Alvey. I don't know what kind of condition he's in. At some time, you got to be thinking about CTE, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a good look.
He looks like a Joker on here, like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's rough.
It's rough. And stylistically, let's talk about Oleksiejczuk too.
Yep.
Realistically, this is probably Alvey's last fight, right? I would imagine.
Let's hope.
I've said that his last 4 fights in a row, but this has got to be it.
He's got to have dirt on Dana, man. He's got to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got to.
Bruce Boxer is hilarious.
He is.
I'm not going to put the comment on the screen because we're a family show, but it's hilarious. But yeah, Oleksiejczuk moving down to 185. I've been a big fan of Oleksiejczuk for a long time now. His style is just insane, just relentless pace. And Sam Alvey, stylistically, every time he fights, it starts, they touch gloves, and he just immediately backs up to the fence, and he's like, I just want to land my check hook, because his check hook cracks. He's got power. It's the last thing to go. He times the check hook really well. He does crack. But if I'm the UFC, I'm not necessarily matching up my guys, unless they want him gone, I don't know. Oleksiejczuk is the perfect guy to fight someone like Sam Alvey, because Oleksiejczuk will force you against the fence. Sam Alvey's doing half the work for him. He's going to back up automatically. Oleksiejczuk's like, cool, I'll just do my work like I always do and just batter people against the fence. And he beat the brakes off of him. Him at 185 is nasty, because you could tell at 205, like, he's not a light heavyweight. He's just not. So at 185, I think this guy is a serious. I think he could be a contender at 185. Honestly, 185 is a little shallow right now, and stylistically, there's really nobody that brings what he brings to the table.
I loved how he was cutting off the cage too. Because Sam Alvey was trying to move against the cage left and right, but the urgency from Oleksiejczuk to cut it off and cut it off quickly, and then he would cut it off, like take a step, and it'd be like a lead straight to the body. Then he'd move to the right, and he'd cut him off the right, and then be a lead right hook. He was mixing it up so well every single time. It was something different for Sam, and he didn't know what was coming until he finally landed the right hook, left hook, and Sam Alvey was like, oh, damn.
And props to Sam Alvey. He recovered pretty well after the first shot that hurt him. But the thing about Oleksiejczuk is you're going to get back up, and you're still in the exact position that he excels at. Like, he's so good.
He recovered really well. But in all reality, Sam Alvey probably thought he was sitting in the stands with his family watching himself fight. Like, let's be real. Like, your boys, it's a massive shot. It's a massive shot. All right, we can move on here. We got a couple minutes left before we hit the 1 hour mark.
Just a couple more fights here.
Yeah, Brian Battle versus Takashi Sato.
Brian Battle, man. I love that they put like TUF alums on the Ultimate Fighter finales. Like, Sam Alvey was on TUF. Brian Battle's a TUF winner. And
Michael Bisping was a TUF alum as well.
Did Bisping win the America versus UK TUF season?
I don't even remember. That was so long ago.
Yeah, coached it. I mean, he done everything. But whatever. Brian Battle is getting better and better and better every single time. I really like him. Didn't need to.
Yeah.
Do that instead.
All right, hold on. Regeneration TV coming through with a dad joke, and I really, really appreciate it. He says, it's so tough.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, there we go. Good timing with the sounds, by the way.
Forgot all about him.
But yeah, dude, shin to chin.
Yeah, dude. Out. Hit him with the frame on the ground like this.
Yeah, the way he fell. By the way, the natural defense mechanism of Sato to say, hey, my body's shut off, hands automatically go up to block any hammers. Dude, that saved a couple brain cells.
True.
I'm letting you know right now
Yeah,
because
true.
Ryan Battle had an angle, the hammer fist, and it slipped down the side of his cheek. But if he didn't have those hands up, man, he wouldn't have had an angle that would have just come straight down.
Yeah, that was yeah, that was gnarly, man. And I thought he did a great job in the post or in the interview. Also, his callouts were great. Calls out who do you call out? Brian Barberena, and he's like, I don't like how you spell your name. All this stuff. And then Fitzgerald's like, just want to point out that Brian Barberena also spells Brian with a Y, but nevertheless, like, so funny.
Fitzgerald's funny, man.
Man.
But yeah, that was it for that fight.
Shout out Regeneration Nation. The fill-in producer's killing it. Thank you. I'm also, for some reason, just to give you guys a glimpse, for some reason the chat isn't popping up for me on my PC in front of me. So I have the Surface right here as I'm checking the chat to put it up. It's a mess, but
you got to do what you got to do, man. You're holding it down, though, Will.
Gotta hold it down.
Rich, the casual, would be very proud right now.
I hope so.
We also had Cory Mckenna versus Miranda Granger. Cory Mckenna coming out of Team Alpha Male. You know how I feel about Team Alpha Male. I love Team Alpha Male. And she fought like somebody from Team Alpha Male.
Relentless.
Gritty, relentless, grinding the takedowns. When she was on top, she was money. By the way, fun fact. Keith Peterson. By the way, Keith Peterson finally bigger than one of the fighters.
Yeah.
But Cory Mckenna.
Keep working.
In fact, shortest reach in the UFC.
Yeah. That was hilarious, dude. They're like, yeah, coming into this, did you know it was the game plan to get inside the reach and have an answer for that? And she's like, well, it's just something that I'm going to have to be used to. I'm going to have that disadvantage in every single one of my fights. So,
hey, yeah, but because of that short reach, Will, of that short reach, when she lands a rear naked choke, when she gets an arm triangle,
dude,
it is tight, man.
Well, that's what we talked.
No gap.
Yeah, we talked about it before, like when Bruce Bobtar was asking if we were going to fight, stream it. Yeah, when I locked up the triangles and stuff on you, it was sick. But there was times where you would
the guillotine.
There's things that you could do that because of my long limbs. Like I was just like, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And that's ultimately what you have to. That's how you have to apply your game plan, right? You have to take what you have and apply it. And Mckenna, so far, man, she's young, obviously, but so far, so good. She's stylistically fighting to her strengths,
Yeah.
Like sure. She, it'll be interesting to see what she does moving forward once she starts getting tougher opponents. Good matchup here, stylistically, striker versus grappler. Especially if you're the smaller person, you want to be the grappler in that situation. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. She's good on the mic too. Talented. I'm excited to see what's next.
For sure. And I think she's in the perfect camp for it too. So
yeah.
All right. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Stephanie Ager.
Shout out Regeneration Nation again, real quick. Low budget behind the snes, high budget on the screens. That's all that matters. I love it. That's basically the motto of our show.
Couldn't have said it any better. But so we got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Stephanie Ager. When this was the first fight and the way it started off, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
Like we had said that this card probably wasn't going to be the best card in the world. And then it started off like this. By the way, can we not
– wait, what do you mean?
Not have Chris Tognoni be the first ref in every card? It throws me off every single time.
To be fair, I don't really know what else you're going to do in this situation. It's a weird situation to be a ref in.
Don't get me going right now.
Let's see.
Okay. So there's a couple things that have been pissing me off lately when it comes to refs. Just a couple things.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, we got some refs that have been fantastic. I've been loving. Whoa, dude, you put me in full screen. I've been loving Smith recently, right? Herb Dean is hit and miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have Herzog. I think he's the golden standard right now. But there's this thing going on with referees right now where somebody gets an eye poke, or somebody gets kicked in the nuts, or somebody and the ref didn't see it, the fighter will point at their eye or they'll point at the cup, and then they'll take them for their word and stop the fight. And there's been times where we've seen that it seemed like a low shot, but it landed like midsection, and we still stopped the fight. Or where it's an eye poke. They stop the fight because the fighter says, I got eye poked, and it's a slow motion replay. And you see that on the punch, the thumb rubs through on the punch, which, hey, it's a punch, right? Let's not start taking fighters' words for it when they say, hey, this person tapped. I think that could become a problem, man. And granted, if she did tap or not, I don't know. The judge says that, yes, Edgar tapped. But the fighter, right, if caught in an armbar, can also yell tap. The fighter can also tap with their foot. The fighter has other means of tapping. And for me, it's a slippery slope when now we're just waiting for the fighter to tell us what direction the fight should go or when the fight should be stopped. What do you think? Hey. Thank you.
A long applause. Yeah.
I'm here for another 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, you're right. Very sneaky. Turns out, so this is what happens, right? Bueno Silva gets her in the armbar, nasty armbar. That's all the pictures we got. Nasty armbar. And her hand is tucked away. No one can see it. Bueno Silva looks up, says, tap, let's go. And then Tyone stops and he's like, I don't know what to do. They pull the judges. Never seen it been done before. One of the judges says, I know for a fact I saw her tap. That's a submission. So they call the fight. That's what happened. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Really bad look for Stephanie Edgar, in my opinion. When she could have easily, right at the beginning, said, I did tap. And we could have been done with it. Instead, she's like, wait, did nobody see? And she's not protesting the stoppage. She's just she's like, yeah, exactly. And it's like,
you ever see that meme with a little kid like with his hand on his stomach, looks around? Like, that's exactly what happened with Edgar.
Dude, because she didn't protest. If she didn't tap, she would have been like, what the fuck are we doing? She would have been pissed. But then she's like, wait, but did nobody saw me tap? I can just maybe stay quiet. And then it turns out that 4 ringside officials all saw it definitively. Yes, she tapped. What are we doing? Are we Bellator now? This is Bellator.
Crazy, right?
Peak Bellator.
Crazy. And again, this is the first time I've personally seen this happen.
Yeah.
So it's not like it happens all the time. Maybe from this, now they're like, okay, this is something that we have to do going forward. This is a procedure, a process that we put in place.
Yeah.
And we go from there, But I don't know. I just feel like Tanyone's in the middle of a lot of these like quirky, weird things that happen like this a lot of times, Hey, super nice guy though. Seems like a really nice guy. Probably the most soft-spoken ref that we have. I get like a nurturing feel from him, like he'd be like, hey, I know that it was unintentional. Protect your weapons. I know it's unintentional. Yeah. Next time we might have to take a point away. But look, I know it's unintentional. Just be careful.
Yeah.
Hey, love you, buddy. Bye. Then he walks off.
Taking a point.
Yeah.
You knew the rules before the fight.
You literally covered them in the locker room right before we came over here. But hey, that was how the night started. That was the night of fights. We covered every single fight, Will, in just a little bit over an hour.
Yeah, it's easy when it's 10 fights and all 10 of them were finishes. This fight was the only time the judges had to work. How about that?
Oh, good way to put it.
They pulled the judges and they said she tapped. And that was the last decision they made for the rest of the night. She got to watch some fights.
Sal Diamato's like, oh, man, I have to toss all my cards away.
Yeah.
Damn it. All right.
Damn it. I can't influence the decisions that I'm gambling on anymore. Allegedly.
That's so funny. We know Adelaide Bird has done that, by the way, in the past with boxing, but that's a whole nother story. All right.
Yeah.
Canceled bouts. Moment of silence, sir.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me look for this banner. There it is. Jason Witt versus Josh Quinlan got rescheduled because Quinlan failed a drug test for steroids.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum. And they're like, no, you're fine. We'll just fight next time. Shout out, again, Regeneration Nation. Great analysis, guys. Glad I stumbled upon the stream today.
Shout out. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it.
So, yeah, that got rescheduled. Gamzatov versus Serkinov was supposed to happen. Could have been a fun fight. I like Serkinov. Nate Landwehr versus Zybura Tahugov would have been very fun. That's a fun matchup. And Ariane Lipsky versus Cachoeira. Lipsky missed weight, and then they said, actually, you didn't just miss weight. You're not fit to fight. So they canceled it. And that would have been a fun one, too. I was hoping to see Cachoeira catch a loss because she's the notorious eye gouger. She's the, yeah, it is what it is.
Yes. And then we also had bonuses.
Yes. Jamahal Hill and Thiago Santos got fight of the night. Both got a bonus. Jeff Neal got a bonus for knocking out Vicente Luque. Usman got a bonus for murdering Pauga. And Brian Battle got a bonus for the high kick knockout.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. And you could argue, you know who else deserved them? Every winner on the card.
Yes, absolutely. Again, you want to get fighters to go for a finish every time. You want to get exciting fights over and over again.
Yeah.
Get rid of the show money. Get rid of the win money, right? Well, you just do a flat rate for them fighting, win or lose. But then anybody that finishes gets a bonus. Problem solved, right?
It's funny because it's an artificial problem. The UFC says you need show money versus win money because if without the win money, they're not going to be incentivized. So that makes you think that the whole reason behind the pay is because they want to incentivize going for it. If that was the problem that they had, if that was the dilemma that they were looking for a solution to, the solution is a bonus for the finish no matter what. The reality is that's not the problem. That's not the reason why there's show and win money. The real reason is because that way, if with a show and win money, half the fighters on a card, they could pay them half the rate. That's the real reason. It's not about without the win money, they won't be incentivized. Because if they really wanted to incentivize them, they wouldn't do it that way. Yep. All they care about is being able to cut half of their paychecks on every single card. It's a bummer.
It would be better. Like, let's say instead of doing 50-50, for example, what do they do? Flat 75 with a 50K bonus so even then they're not paying the full 100,000, but at least the fighter's guaranteed an additional 25, and then they could still get a bonus for finishing.
Who knows? It's
like meeting halfway almost, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't want to break their budget, you know?
All right. Well, that being said, what do we have for next week?
Next week we have UFC Fight Night San Diego.
Ooh, San Diego. Yes.
Yeah. It's an old ship.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Here we go. Chito Vera versus Dominic Cruz.
Great fight.
Yes. We have David Onama versus Nate Landwehr. So it looks like
banger.
Else. Gerald Mearshart versus Bruno Silva. That should be fun.
Good fight.
Murzakanov. I don't know how to pronounce that, dude. And I'm
not Azamat.
Oh no! Here we go. Cynthia Calvillo versus Nina Nunes. Holy smokes! Hey, you know what? We all need a break to go grab some food or to go grab some drinks. So it's all good, people. Let's see here. Anything else that really stands out to you? Gabriel
Benitez versus Ontiveros is pretty good. We'll see what Ontiveros is capable of. He's the guy that broke his collarbone against Kevin Holland. Yep. Ode Osborne versus Tyson Nam is fantastic. Angela Hill versus Lupita Godinez should be fun.
That should be a fun one.
Jason Witt versus Josh Quinlan also, I think, is a fun one. Lipsky versus Cachoeira got moved to this card as well. Pretty good card.
Yes. Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. So for anybody, again, if this is your first time joining us, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you know whenever we happen to go live, post fight recaps, maybe fight companions, anything else. DL saying thank you, gents. No, thank you, man, for always joining. We really appreciate the support. But yeah, if you don't like seeing our ugly mugs, but you like listening to us and our beautiful voices, then you got Spotify, Breaker, Podcast Radio, Public, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, anywhere podcasts are found. And then you can also interact with us on social media. You don't have to wait till Sundays.
Yeah, it's at Story the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere.
Yeah, and we're trying to get to 2,000 subs, right, on the YouTubes. So let your friends know. I'm sure that if you're a MMA fan, you probably have fans that are or friends that are MMA fans as well, and just let them know Be like, hey,
Yeah.
join us on Sundays. Let's talk MMA with other people that love MMA. Why not?
It makes it so much more fun when people are in here too. So
For
keep
sure.
coming.
All right. Another week of fights. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us for another week, A Story of the Fight. Shout out Rich Bustos in Vegas.
How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.